relevance, to the Hajj as performed by Muslims as today. I'm sure you enjoyed a lot about that. We are on the segment living in the month of Ramadan, and like we said earlier at the beginning of the show, it is a very special one indeed, because today on living in Ramadan, we are going to be talking about the status of women in Islam. So we have almost the whole hour here, and I have my sisters with me in the studio. Sitting close by to me is my dear sister Shakira O Raji. She's an author and she's also a researcher. Yes, somebody doing a PhD. And sitting close to her is my dear sister as well, a known face on this program, Sister Khadija Aroyeun Adekumaya. She's also a student, let me say, and also a researcher, doing PhD. So I've got big brains here in the house today, and we're going to be talking about the status of women in Islam. Yes, I think I'm going to start by saying, like, when we were discussing, we were talking about when we are looking at the status of women in Islam, we can divide it into various aspects, to just make it easier for us. Someone was suggesting we can look at the social, the economic, political, the spiritual aspects, all those aspects of women's life, and then to look at their status. What status does Islam give to them? So I want us to start from the spiritual aspect. So what should we women know, about the status of women in Islam with regards to our spiritual life? Mr. Shakira, I'll start with you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Looking at the spiritual aspect, according to one of the verses of the Holy Quran, where Allah mentioned that the prayers of believers are equal, meaning that both male and female in Islam have equal right when it comes to spiritual aspect. So there is no superiority when it comes to the prayers of the Muslim women and both the Muslim men.
So that is to say that the souls are the same, whether it's a male or a female.
Yes.
And whatever spiritual acts we put forward.
Sure.
Yes, it's the same. Khadija wanted to add something.
Of course, there's also this verse of the Quran, Surah Al-Hazab, verse 35, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it says Innal Muslimin wal Muslimat wal Mu'minin wal Mu'minat wal Qanitin wal Qanitat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually placed us on the same footing when it comes to spiritual obligation. On the day of judgment, yes, despite the fact that, okay, fine, our psychological makeup, our physiological makeup differs, but when it comes to our spiritual obligation towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the fact that someday we are going to have to give account of, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained us to carry out on the surface of the heart, and our allegiance and obeisance to all of these injunctions, we would definitely be on the same footing. So when it comes to spirituality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed on us fasting is incumbent on the men, and it's also incumbent on the women. Restraining from zina is incumbent on the men, and it's also incumbent on the women. Being good to your parents is a compulsory act placed on the men and also placed on the women.
So it's not like that popular saying where some people even consider that a woman doesn't even have a religion, that whatever religion her husband does is what she should do. And I know in a particular time in history, I think even in Europe, a woman was considered not to even have a soul. There was even a debate whether a woman was a full human being or whether she had a soul. So you're telling us that the status of a woman in Islam with regards to her spirituality is that the soul is equal.
Yes. Absolutely. And I would also want to put it this way, that we human beings deliberately subjected ourselves to such agony, because if we look at it concretely, we didn't create the heavens and the heart. We have a whole lot of troubling questions that all the answers before and beyond have been provided to us in the Quran. So yes, before Islam, because Islam has always been in existence, Islam is all about monotheism, worship of just one God. But when we say the teachings of the Quran as we have today, after the emergence of our noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the teachings came after the Westerners and the Europeans. regarded women as insignificant and
as cattle, was not having so. Yes, let's look at another aspect of a spiritual. Now that you have established that worship of men and women are equal, before Allah is the same, whether you're a man or a woman. But let's take specific spiritual, specific acts of ibadah now. Say like the salat or like the hajj.
Yeah, I mean, the status that women in Islam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted the women, is so of the high one, and that's why when it comes to religious obligation, especially going for salat, it is the woman has the option of going for the congregation prayer or sitting back at home, irrespective of how she wants it. So, but another specific, when it comes to during her period, I mean, she's been relieved of that. So, I mean, it shows that the Islam as a religion has high regards for the woman. And another thing that when it comes to spirituality, I mean, we hear some people say that it was because of Eve, that's our mother, because it was the one that actually forced Adam to hit the. In Islam, we don't have that as that kind of story.
So that concept of original sin, it was that Shaitan tempted Eve.
No. In Islam, in Islam, we don't have that.
So they both ate the apple.
Yeah, they both made the mistake, and they sought for forgiveness, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive them.
Yes, so that concept of demonizing the woman and saying that
that woman is impure, no, it has no basis in Islam.
So therefore, even from the beginning, the status of the woman is not that of a criminal or somebody that seduces somebody to do, what is
not at all. No, not at all.
Yes, that's basically, of course, even on the day of judgment, Shaitan will actually say, "Did you see me?" I mean, we are even talking about Shaitan, who is the one who actually masterminds, who lures us, who whispers into us, and actually causes us to do a lot of evil acts. He will say on the day of judgment, "Did you see me? Did I push you to it? So why would you always
simply called,
blame?" It's just blame shifting. We actually lack the ability to take responsibility for our actions. So why would we blame? I mean, some will actually call us the weaker sex. Why would he blame us in the first place?
Is even the woman? Is women? Are we even the weaker sex? I don't know.
No, there's nothing like that. And when it comes to Islam, there's no weaker sex. We don't have that at all. We are all equal, according to the Azab, Surah Azab that was quoted. We are all equal when it comes to our religious aspect. In fact, in all ramifications, we are all. I think there's a verse of the Quran that says that the best among of you is the one that has the highest taqwa.
Yes,
so when it comes to that, we don't have. There's no.
So let's also look at another aspect of worship. For instance, like the Hajj. How has it, raised the status of women? How has the status of women been? Because I know the Hajj is also compulsory for the women, the way it is compulsory for the men. So how has Islam raised the status of women? I think, for instance, if you want to start from the aspect of dressing in Hajj, for instance.
I mean, when you look at Islam as a whole, as a religion, it is a religion that honors women in totality, and that's why when it comes to the dressing of those going for the pilgrims, you see that Islam recognizes the fact that the delicate what's it called, our body composition. That's why the dressing is quite unique, and that's why we all have to be fully covered. And that's
one of the men that get to wear only, like we even saw in the documentary, that the men only get to wear 2-piece, but women are
they have option. In fact, they can put on anything as long as it covers them all.
Yes, covers.
And I'm going back to what she rightly said about equality in Islam. Yes, spiritually, women and men are equal. Do you understand? But that's not to say that in whatever role we have to play on the surface of the heart has to be equal. We have different roles and different parts to play. It's just like the part of a puzzle. We have different pieces, and everything has to come together to make a perfect whole. And that could actually, that is not a dichotomy. That is not a major reason to actually say we are completely unequal. It's just that we all have different roles, complementary roles.
But when we are talking about spirituality, our relationship with Allah, whether you are male or female, is the same thing.
And to think of the fact that, there are some things that do, for example, there's this saying of the Prophet that when a woman actually, sews her husband's clothing, when she takes care of his children, when you do some extra things as a woman, which of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed
normally
on you,
want to
which
do,
you would ordinarily do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually promised us more reward for carrying out those tasks.
Even those things that are mundane.
But you probably don't have that in case of the male, except for the fact that if you actually fend for your family, definitely you're doing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enjoined upon you to do it, and you also get a reward for it. And also, the woman also fends for a father. The extra things you have as a woman, you actually give to your parents, and you also have that additional reward. So other than those varying responsibilities, we still all have, which is complementary anyway, but then we could say spiritually that we are on the same balance.
Yes, I also wanted us to look at a particular thing. I know you mentioned the issue of our mother, Hawa, and I know some people always have this concept of original sin, that was because she was the one that caused our father Adam alayhi to eat the apple. So that is why women always go through problem during pregnancy and childbirth and all that. What does Islam say about that?
From the Islamic point of view, there is no reference to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even before, as in, yes, from the very beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has preordained everything, even the eating of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered our mother and our father not to eat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually preordained everything. So whichever way things turned is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. It's what He has always wanted to be. So we wouldn't. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven our mother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven our father.
So it is not a form of punishment that
you
experience pain during childbirth. No. And then to think about that, even in the Quran, Allah uses it as a pointer for we children to be grateful to our mothers, especially telling us that in travail upon travail did your mother bore you, and then she breastfed you, recommending that you be breastfed for 2 years.
And the Prophet ﷺ also said that there is no pain you actually feel. It draws you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It expiates your sins. And when you're going through this intense pain that like we're going through when we're trying to bring a child into this world, you're closer to Allah, and there's no dua you make at that point in time that goes unanswered. And that is to say that one of we have different matters in Islam, and one of them is a woman who dies trying to bring a woman into. So you don't have to go to the battlefield to
and that is a great honor.
Indeed is a great honor.
Is given to women. Yes. Now let's move on to the social aspects. I know this is a very, very broad one, but first I'm going to start from the issue of having girl children, because we find out a lot of people, when they have maybe only girls, they would want to try some more. Maybe I'll have a boy, but you really find people. I don't know. I know some do, but I don't think you really find people that have got boys and then they keep trying and saying probably I'm going to have a girl. Or we have seen a lot of people, maybe even people that are not Muslims, wanting to get a second wife, going into a second marriage just because they did not have a male son, and thinking that. So I want us to start from there, and I'm going to start from Shakiro again.
I think the thing about it is that every child has a sacred life, and every child is important. There is no superiority whether you have a son or you have a daughter. Even the Prophet ﷺ also said that if you have two grown-up daughters, I secure to you al-Jannah. So it means that it's even a blessing if you have a female child. So there's nothing of sad thing. You're not supposed to be sad if you have females.
Just like Allah described as when somebody's some of them are giving the news of a female child, their eyes become dark and gloomy.
I think that was during the Jahiliyyah period, they used to bury the female daughters.
And to even know that even nowadays, in some places where they do sex selection, when they find out that the baby is a female, they get it aborted. Yes, I know it happens. I don't want to mention the country, but I know.
I think it's just sheer ignorance. If you're going what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said,
Sallallahu
that if you have 2 female daughters, I guarantee you paradise. It means that every child, every household, if they have a female, they should be proud, they should be
take
happy
care of
to
her,
yes,
get
to
her,
And
take care of her, educate her.
History has also revealed the fact that when you talk about the female, they are the nicest, they are the kindest, they are the ones that take care of you when you're old.
Yeah.
And the female children, I mean,
Are
for
more
crying out
they are
loud,
more
if you want to
compassionate.
compassionate, that's
Yeah.
the word. And if you choose to eradicate the women race in this world, that is just to say we want to bring the world to an end, because I mean, who's going to bring the future generations into life?
Yes, and I think even recent research that I read about a country having the one child policy, where a lot of people favored having male children over female. Now they have, a
More
lot of
males.
those children are in their teens, early 20s, and then
there are no females.
there are no females
that they would get to that. That is
that
what
they will get
eventually-
to marry, and there is fierce
the-
competition about,
bringing
even
female
finding
children.
yes,
into
even
the world.
finding a girl to marry, because
So,
everybody just wanted a boy, only few.
That is what happens when you try to play God. I mean, for crying out loud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the men and the women for a just cause, and that's to ensure that procreation continues. Just
Since
to
everything
ensure
is
that
Allah
life-
balances it up.
So when you choose to extinguish, I mean, the female will play a major role. I can't start just recounting all the things we do.
I believe we would have time to even recount it again in some
But
aspects.
it just doesn't make sense that you want to completely extinguish the female race in this world that we live in.
Now let's move on. The woman, the status of a woman as a wife in Islam, because in some other places they believe that maybe when a woman gets married, even some people see Muslim women as that when you get married, it's as if you're no longer existing. Some even accuse some Muslims that whenever they get married, they don't even see their parents anymore. Or what is the status of woman, a Muslim wife? What are our rights? What are some of our duties? What status has Islam placed her?
I mean, to begin with, as a woman, you have the free choice to choose whoever you want to marry to begin with. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I mean, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I mean, when there was an incident when a lady, I mean, her father wanted her to marry a particular man, and she didn't give the consent, and showing that every woman, every lady has the right to whoever she wants to marry to begin with. So, and we see marriage in Islam, I mean, the wife sees marriage as a marriage partner, I mean, a partner in helping, you are helpmate. So, I mean, it's misconception.
Garments for them and
Exactly, there's a verse of the Quran that actually says that. And so it's misconception that some people have that once if a Muslim woman marries, I mean, that ends it all. So it is not at all.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Shirati said, that we have a garment for the male and they have a garment for females. When we talk about our roles and our privileges that we enjoy as a wife, we would we'll look at it at first that, okay, fine, as a married woman, like you said, we get to make our choice as to whom we want to marry. There was this incident during the time of the Prophet when a girl decried the fact that her father imposed a man on her. She went to the Prophet and those are the kind of rights and privileges we enjoy as women. You have a right to for your voice to be heard. You have a right to make your complaint, and you've got to be listened to. You've got to be heard. You've got to be put into consideration. And so she went to the noble Prophet and said, "Oh Prophet, my father imposed on me so and so, man." And the man said, and the noble Prophet said, that, "Oh, do you like this man?" And she said, "Actually, I do like him, but I just want to decry the fact that he was imposed on me. I should have been given the privilege to choose." And so the Prophet said,
Allah bless that woman. Yes, even though she liked the person that was imposed on her, she still deemed it fit to come out and then to establish, to just reiterate the fact that women had, a choice in the choice of their husband. That is what now I just want us to look at another aspect. You said that men and women are partners in progress within the marriage. Does this mean that they are equal? or does this mean, a lot of people say, okay, since we are partners, and then it's 50-50, and then some use it as, okay, since we are partners, I contribute 50% of the, if we need, let's say 50,000 to survive in a month, I provide 25, you, my partner as the wife, you provide 25, and then decision making, I have to say this time, you have to say next time. I don't know what is.
I think the beauty of Islam actually clarifies that, and by saying that there's a verse in Surah An-Nisa that says that the men are the maintainer. Each one of them has their own various responsibilities, and the responsibility of the man is quite different from that of the woman. So so that there will be no clash. So it means that at the end of the day, each one of them, so since they are partners, each one of them has their own role to play. And giving the men the higher responsibility does not in any way signify that of any superiority. So it's just that he has more
really,
responsibility.
Not that one is more important than the other.
Yes.
So who then has the final say? Since we are saying that they are both complementary, and some people nowadays will feel, well, you are educated, I'm educated, you make so and so amount of money, I make as well, you contribute to this family, this lifestyle, I do as well.
And then has placed the men above the women, not by virtue of their strength, but by virtue of him being our Lord and instructing us that the men should be the leader. Because we can't, in the Prophet said that when there are two or three people, when there are two people, you should choose a leader amongst you. And naturally, in the marriage institution, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed that leadership on the men, and we've got to accept it. We cannot dispute it.
And even if whether we deny it or not, I think it is just natural in the way Allah has made us. That's usually, even if you look amongst children, that maybe you have boys, you have girls, you see sometimes that a boy shows leadership. It's not necessarily that he's smarter than a sister, but it just shows leadership qualities or a sense
the
of
leadership
leading.
quality comes from the fact that oftentimes they're not, the men are they are more analytical in their approach. We women, one major difference between the women folk and the men folk is that we women we think from the heart, and the men think
emotional.
We're pretty much emotional when we actually approach issues, and men are they think from their head. They take it as it comes. They don't get carried away, they don't get swayed. And we women, because of the strength Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, we've got a better threshold than the men. We are, because that role we play of because we are maintaining the man, we're actually maintaining the children, which invariably means we're actually maintaining the society. And that's why the Prophet said that if the society is good, check the women. If the society is bad, check the women. We are the builders and shakers and movers of the community, of the society, because we are the builders of the family. If we, the women, become a better persons, it will definitely translate into what our families are like, which definitely goes back into society. So looking at we women, we are stronger because we've got to manage the man themselves. Because like Yorubas will say, if you want to know if this man is good, please check his wife. He has a strong and solid and supportive woman.
And like they say, behind every successful
man, that's the word.
Yes.
So there is a very good woman.
I think it's not even behind; it should be beside. Beside every successful man, there should be a woman.
But I think maybe the most of saying behind is that sometimes you don't get to see the woman. You just get to see that this is a great man, and then that thing is just letting you know that even though you are looking at this great man, he has achieved so and so, there is a woman somewhere, maybe his mother,
that's
maybe
why
his
you see
wife,
actually some of our leaders, if some leaders want to stay in power for just a very short period of time, but because there's that powerful woman telling you, oh my God, I don't want to stop being a first lady, you just have to have a rerun.
But that is in the negative sense of it.
Negative sense of it.
So women can actually influence men. I know
Positively.
Yes, positively, and the other way as well. Right. I know whether we want to admit it or not, or the men want to admit it or not, somehow women hold sway over men, even those that are not their wives. I know I've had an instance, I think when we were in school, where somebody wanted to get things done. Maybe students wanted to check something, and somebody went and said, oh, I wasn't allowed to check. I said, you go. Told a lady to go. She said, no, they didn't allow you to check. I said, oh, you're a lady, go. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be anything. I don't know.
Naturally men have soft spot for women.
For women. So whatever reason, the lady was able to check what the boy was sent out, that it wasn't time for him to check. I don't know how, but I know,
you know, that soft spot for women would actually remain if we women accept the fact that yes, we can't always be like the men.
We can't.
So it is more of equity than equality.
We must
accepting our own roles.
Yes, accepting who we are,
and not trying to be
and
not trying to compete.
That's the
completely,
word.
because physiologically we are different. For example, every month we go through the menstrual cycle, which distorts our psychological makeup. You know, during those times we were in pains, there's hormonal changes, imbalance and all that.
Yes.
It changes. We become, you know, apprehensive. We just change. You just imagine.
Some might be even when they're ovulating, that they have all these
issues,
hormones, and then
so they react with it,
and it definitely affects our actual behavior and our decision making process. And so all of these things put into consideration makes us, you know, uniquely different. When we're pregnant, for crying out loud, you know, the vomitings and you know all the first trimester pranks.
Even some even suffer for the whole of the pregnancy. It does even beyond, you know,
breastfeeding itself. It's demanding. So all of those things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. He knows that we had unique, we're different in a very unique way, and we should appreciate and embrace that, and not, you know, try to shy away from, you know, the feature what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid, the natural way. Course, the natural way, and you know, and that is, it's because a whole lot of people have actually chosen to move away from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has established, the natural way of doing things, that we have so many atrocities in our world today. Atrocities that were committed by our forefathers that actually brought about destruction is what we are beginning to eulogize, because we've exhausted all, let me put it this way, all mad interpretations to life, all mad ways of interpreting our roles in life. We've got to go back to, you know, the natural way of doing things. Man, yeah, they had the men, they had the leaders, they had the leaders of the family. Women, we are a partner, and we have a major role by ensuring.
So when a woman gets married, it is not that she does not become the property of the husband.
She doesn't.
You know, such that even, you know, in some cultures, when a woman husband dies, the family still regards her as their property, as if my son bought a car, and then now that he's dead, I can just pass on the car to the brother. And then, you know, when a man dies, the woman is forced, whether she likes it or not, you know, forcefully passed on maybe to the younger brother.
That is not in existence in Islam. If we truly want to follow the Sharia and the,
if she wants to marry brother, it has to be of her own free.
For sure,
has to be on her own.
Just like we said earlier, she has the right to make her own decision.
Exactly. So
she has a right to property, to own properties. You know, even when it comes to will, when the death of her husband, the death of her father, she has a right to own, to inherit from them. You know, it's so wonderful that our mother Khadija, radiallahu anha, she was a wealthy woman. She actually owned a whole lot. She was much richer than her husband, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And after marriage, she didn't stop being a successful merchant. And you know, that just shows. I mean, if it were to be that Islam negates a productive Muslim woman, then she would have stopped her work. She didn't stop. And the Prophet of course said that if you want to make Islam appealing to people, then take poverty away from them. So poverty is not a part of us. The women, if we have to work outside, you know, socially, economically, we've got to be balanced, because our major and primary role is the home. So whatever it is we want to do.
Before I think we're going to talk about the economic aspect. Okay. That is going to be my next, you know, major points. But I also want us to talk about the role of the mother. What status, what honor? Because sometimes as mothers you feel as if you are the only one just giving. Has Islam given anything back to the mother? You know, it was just this popular video that went viral, you know, that they said they were looking for people to take a particular job. Director of operations or something, and they said you don't have any breaks, you're going to be on call 24/7, you're going to work every day, you know, every day of the year, you're not going to have holidays, your client must always be satisfied, you're not going to be paid anything. And then people were like, no, I'm not going to take this job. And they said, do you know there are millions of people, billions of people doing this job currently in the world? And they said, no way. And then they said mothers, and everybody said, yes, it's true. Mothers are doing this. But what does Islam give back to the woman? Is it just, just like in this world of ours, everything is just chaotic? And I see that it is the women that are at most disadvantaged. We are pushed out to go out there to work as hard as the man, and then we are expected to come back to make that sumptuous dinner. You make a 3-course meal again for the children, and then be that mother again that lies down with her babies in bed and reads them a bedtime story. Be that woman that wakes up very early in the morning before everybody is awake to make them breakfast. And it's as if there is so much pressure on women. What does Islam give women back? Does Islam even give them anything back as mothers? Yes, please.
Okay, to start with, the major role of the man is to provide for his wife and for his children, for the family. In a situation whereby his income might not meet or satisfy the needs of the family, the woman is required to also seek a means of providing, but she's not compelled to. Whatever it is she brings home is like just that word is a form of help. And so the man would not take it as 50-50, the usual thing we actually hear in our contemporary society. That okay, fine, I bring in 50% of the income, you bring in. No, the man has that duty of bringing 100%. So if the man has the wherewithal to bring 100%, whatever the woman makes, which of course does not affect the family, because when we talk about the family, we mean attending to the husband and to the children. It's a primary, just like you said, it's that 24 hours job that doesn't pay at all, but it sure pays, because on the day of judgment, a Sahaba came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "Oh noble Prophet, please, who deserves my honor, my respect, my kindness the most between my parents?" The person said, "Your mother." He said, "Then who?" He said, "Your mother." Then he asked again, "Then who?" He said, "Your mother." And then he asked, "Then who?" He said, "Your father." So your father. And so the affairs have actually said that out of 100% of what you want to distribute to both parents, your mother gets 75% and the man gets 25%. So from this world, you're beginning to enjoy the benefit of being a mother. And on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually said the path to paradise lies between the feet of the mothers. Wow. He didn't say the fathers. Yes, your parents are very, very. It's incumbent on you to be good to your parents, to be nice to them, to be obedient to them, for as long as they do not order you to go against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, it is. But the mother has been placed on a higher daraja, on a higher level, basically because she weaned you upon pain. She actually carried you for 9 months. She suckled you, after suckling you she has sleepless nights. We know what it's like being a mother when your child comes, you're like, oh my God, are you okay, my child?
Even if you really can sleep so much, if the child just start crying, you set into mother mode and then you just wake up. You wanted to also say something about...
I think to just buttress the role, the status of woman as a mother as well. When it comes to seeking of knowledge, Islam does not limit it to the male folk. Islam encourages that we seek knowledge, both male and female, even if as far as China, meaning that you go extra mile to seek for knowledge in order to benefit humanity. So it is also compulsory for the Muslim woman to go out there to seek for the knowledge to benefit a family and the society at large.
Yes,
Not also
I've
forgetting
even read a particular thing on the duty of the husband, where it was said that one of the duty of the husband is to even ensure a form of continuing education.
There's another age that says that you learn to from cradle to death.
Yes.
So meaning there is no barrier, there's no there's no age limit for seeking of knowledge.
We look at the life of our mother Aisha. She was a scholar.
Exactly.
She actually produced like thousands of hadiths, and she had a very wonderful memory. Exactly. So that is just.
And then even this English adage that says that if you train a woman, it's like you are training your own nation.
Yes.
So it means that Islam already tells us that we also, especially the women, they have to go out there to look for knowledge, to seek, so that they understand. I mean, how do you understand your religion if you don't even know anything about it?
Yes.
So that's
And
the
I've
picture of
known,
Islam.
well, for as long, whatever knowledge that would benefit you as an individual, that will benefit your family, and will benefit the society at large, it is incumbent upon you
To go for it.
acquire it.
Yes.
So there is no restriction to your knowledge acquisition. There is no restriction to so Islam is for knowledge acquisition. Islam is for acquiring all things that would actually benefit you as an individual and the community within which you reside.
Yeah.
So the women, of course, because you're the one who pass this knowledge on to your children,
Onto the children,
and you know you know what it's like. We all want to be, we take our mothers as our role models. So
Yes,
if you
yes, and
So if you don't have
remember
anything
everything.
if you don't have anything,
Anything
how do
to
you
offer,
pass?
How do you pass it?
So you
Yes.
have to have. If you
you
it's
don't
give
have,
and
you cannot.
take. If you don't have, how do you want to give? How do you want to pass? So it is incumbent that we actually, women should go out there to seek for the right knowledge, so that they can pass it to their children and the society at large.
Yes, what a good. I think that would be a lot of comfort, to the women, to know that, even what Islam asks, that even all these efforts I'm putting, because a lot of women just look at it, but at the end of the day, these children bear the name of their father, and this and that and that. But Islam has even really said that for all these things your mother is doing for you, you buy her 3 cars before you remember to buy your father one.
I mean, one of you just reminded me of, saying that one of the beauty of Islam, again, or the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually bestowed on the women folk, is that they actually have the privilege of actually retaining their father's name. Like, it's a privilege that you so I mean, it's
like I still retain mine.
yes, I can still retain my father's name. Yes,
Yes, that's
It's-
brilliant.
it's
So
an
a
honor,
woman-
it's an
a
honor
woman- a
given to
woman
the woman.
is not, does not become the property of the husband.
No, not at
So
all.
she's still the daughter
Of
her own
father,
father.
yes.
Of her own father. Yes, and because on the day of judgment you are going to be called the name of your father.
Sure.
Anyway. Well, now I think we are going to open the phone lines. Although we have not finished, I've not covered all the things I would like to cover, but the lines are going to be opened soon. So if you want to ask any question, seek any clarification, or contribute to this program in any way, we are still talking about the status of women in Islam. And I still have my sisters here, Sister Shakiro Raji and Sister Khadija Aroye, still retain her father's name and then join Nadekuma. Yes, so the lines are open. The number is going to be on your screen, so you can call in, contribute, ask questions. Before we start having our calls, economic aspects now. Economic aspects. You had already mentioned it, yes, that a woman can go out and work and all that. But I said something that sometimes the pressure on woman, to me, sometimes seems greater. You leave home the same time as your husband, maybe 6 a.m. in the morning or 7. You both rush to work. You're expected to put in a lot of effort in work. But then you're the one thinking that, okay, do I have lunch? Or what are my kids going to eat for lunch? And when then you get back home, probably you get back at the same time, you're rushing to the kitchen to prepare dinner. I'm looking at all that and all that. Is it not enough? Okay, what is it? Let me just make it just simple, saying that women, do we have anything to contribute to the society economically?
Well, I think one of the main responsibility of the woman, as regards Islam, is a primary responsibility which she has to take care of the home, especially the children. And then it's optional. It's not that it is mandated that she has to go out there to actually seek for employment. So it is not a do or die affair. So it's an optional thing. If she wants to work, fine, but in as much as it has nothing to do with negating a primary role, which is to take care of the family and
Another
the
point
kids.
I would like to bring out is that when you want to go out to work as a mother and as a wife, you've got to come to an agreement with your husband. When I say an agreement, I don't mean 50%, 50% or 25%. I mean, okay, how do we make this work? For how long am I going to be gone? In a day, in a week? For how long would you be working? Okay, what would happen when it comes? Because you are both players. You're both players. Because if she has to go outside to work, then it must be that there's a need
for her to do
for
so.
her to need so, even not just for the immediate family, for also the society at large, because we all are contributors. I mean, one way or the other, and sometimes we don't just work for our immediate self. We do it because we need to alleviate the situation of some other people, probably family members and all that. So we've got to come to an agreement. How do we make this easy for me and for you?
And the
you know,
family at
so
large.
it's basically communicating, and that's the beautiful thing about Islam. I mean, yeah, the man is still carrying out all the responsibilities. I wouldn't say that burden is huge or anywhere, except for the fact, she has to attend to the meals and attend to the children. But he still has to bring all the money the woman makes is her money. Like, somebody will say, all the money you make is your own money, but my money is our money. All the money
that's the privilege, beckon on women.
Because
so
some people,
it's a plus.
It's a plus really, because whatever the man makes is for all of
it's
us.
for all of us.
And whatever you make is for yourself.
But again, I just always remember the hadith of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, encouraging that the best person that you can give sadaqah is your family, if your family needs it. So I know.
And then just to buttress that, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also said the best among of you is the ones that are good to their wives.
Yes. Oh yes. So then the men have to be that is really a high status. So for a man to be the best, he has to be good to me, He has to be good to his wife. Yes, that's a good one, alhamdulillah. But I just also want us to look at another thing. I think I was listening to an Islamic caller explaining the meaning of hijab, saying that it is what encourages, apart from the physical one, women are encouraged to stay in their homes. But that we should remember that Allah, when Allah asked us to stay in our homes, He ordered us to pray and He ordered us to give zakat. So He was telling us that means that we have to be economically empowered. That if you just stay at home not doing anything, then how are you expected to give zakat? And that women are known to be good entrepreneurs. Some women can start a business with as little as 10,000 naira, and then spin it around to make something big. I think we have a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Oh, please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling
from where?
In Niger.
From Niger State. Wow. What's your name, my brother? Hello. Please go ahead. Go ahead, please, if you can hear us.
Okay. It says education is highly recommended in Islam. I mean women education.
Okay, women education. Okay.
It's highly recommended.
Yes. The education of women is highly recommended.
That is the implication of the woman participating in government work.
What is the implication?
Okay, so you are saying that is why women should be in government work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the question?
Is that a question or it's a comment? Hello?
It's a question.
Okay, so what is the implication of a woman in government work?
Islamic implication.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, of a woman in government
work.
Okay, of a woman doing government work.
When you say government work, what do you mean by government work? Do you mean holding a political office?
Or being a civil servant?
Huh?
Do you mean being a civil servant or holding a political office?
Yes, civil servant.
Civil servant.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, Jazakumullah khair. Yes, like my sister has even said, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Being a civil servant, working for the government is, so far the job is halal. It's a good job. Then women can do it. But like my sisters have been emphasizing that it should not disturb
the primary responsibility, which is to take care of the home.
What is most crucial also, just like you said, that source of income has got to be halal.
Yes.
And I know I'm actually emphasizing this. Whatever income that is coming to you through whatever work you're doing, you've got to ensure that it's lawful, it's legal, it's from the halal means. And of course that's the whole point of a woman has got to acquire knowledge, and if she can serve, government's work is basically one huge way of serving the community, a faster and more immediate way of serving the community directly. So I really think it's important.
I'm talking about serving the community. Like one of our scholars has even said that a woman taking care of the home should be even seen as doing community service. Yes, that because since the home is the micro unit of the community,
Yeah.
and then the person is
The
taking
children
care
is going to go outside
Representatives.
to interact with all the children outside. So if she trains them well, I mean, they will be good ambassador of Islam.
Yes.
So it's
The-
actually a community
It's,
work.
something just struck me now. Invariably we women are producers of the component of the society.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We decide what's obtainable, what because when we look at our society, the decaying society today, and you look at the mothers, okay, we like, just for example the touts on our streets and all that, and you look at how did they come to the fore. It's probably due to promiscuity. The mother was once promiscuous. She actually had a child out of wedlock, and she was incapable of training this child properly, because of course she didn't even have the right teachings about moral teaching to that she could impart on the child. And because she was not there as a mother, and of course because she had the child out of wedlock, there's no father figure to set the child aright.
Right.
And this goes on
it
and
wasn't in a community, it wasn't in a family setting, so that even if the father is dead, there is a grandfather, there is an uncle, there is
and so
somebody to
the child was left at the expense of the wider society, which of course is a product of some other woman who was not able
also
to take care
neglected their
and
own
so,
children, and then
that's just, so
keep
if we
multiplying.
women begin starting from deciding the fact that the family institution has been placed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a purpose, is just to ensure the sanity of the community.
so
Number
so
one,
we
make
can
a
make
res-
a positive change in the community, a family at
Let's
a
even
time.
look at
Of course, because the
Zina.
family is even the unit of that macro society we're talking about.
Okay, I think we have another caller on the line. Salaam alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa
Salam wa
rahmatullah. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Abdul. I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay, brother Abdul from Abuja. Please make your contribution.
First and foremost, I would like to say, may Allah bless all of you.
Amen. And you too, my brother.
The question I want to ask you is it Islamically correct for you to do this kind of program?
For us to do this kind of program,
Yes,
what
as a married woman? I believe you're all married women.
okay. That is it
Is
Islamic?
it Islamically correct for you to do this kind of program?
Okay.
Okay.
Is that the question?
Yes,
Okay, that's the question. Yes.
Thank you, Brother Abdul.
Okay.
All right, I was mentioning someone. Yes.
We
There are
have to
some
we have to give
situations,
reasons.
yes, we've got to reason. The reason is, okay, in some other countries, like for example Saudi Arabia, there might not be a need for women to come outside and make
and do
advocate
dawah, do
advocate,
public dawah, yes.
and advocate for Islam, basically, because what is entrenched in that society is already Islam. But in our own community today, where a whole lot of misconception about Islam is widespread, we women have got to come outside and actually lay claim to the beauty of the Islam that we are upholding. Because, for example, some women actually think the wearing of hijab has actually enslaved us. But we are coming outside today and telling
let
you that
them
no, that as a woman who is wearing hijab, we have been empowered, we have been honored, we have been elevated, and I am coming out here today proudly saying it to all other women out there, so that they would know that Islam has not enslaved me, and I alone can do that, because no other person in the world out there is willing to say that
just
for
like
me.
imagine a brother sitting down here
just to
and saying
buttress
that,
what she said.
yes.
I mean, this issue has to do with women, and I just remember Aisha. I mean,
Radiallahu
radiallahu
anha,
anha,
yes.
when the companions, they will go and meet her to
learn
make some
about-
clarifications about some
About
of the
Islam.
about Islam. So this issue has to do with women. I mean, no better person would do justice except
Yes,
if we
but
women were
except
here to
women.
talk about it. So in short, we are just saying that Islam empowers women. We are not being enslaved.
Yes, we're not being
That's
enslaved. And I think again we have to let the brother know that there are conditions for us to come and sit down here. If we were not wearing our hijab, it would not be possible for us to sit down here. So I cannot, as a Muslim woman, come on TV without my hijab and claim to preach Islam. I have to meet that condition that I must be properly dressed. I must be fully covered. Exposing only those parts that Allah has permitted me to expose. And then to have the permission of my husband. My husband knows I'm on air. He knows I'm here. He knows I'm doing this. And then, like, the obligation of dawah is on everybody. Is on everybody. And then to even let you know, like what you have been saying, is that a lot of people just feel that because of this society, I cannot use my hijab, I cannot be educated. We all here are educated. My guests here are both doing their PhD. I'm a lawyer by profession. You know, there are a lot of things that we just, in our community, we just have to let them know that Muslim women, you can be educated, you can be successful, because Allah has told us that qad aflaha al-mu'minun. Indeed, the believers are successful. So this program is, and we coming out here to talk about the issues of women, is not necessarily because we want to, you just want to show off or anything. We women should be talking to women, especially now that we're talking about women, and then representing the Muslim women in our community.
That's the most crucial point. We are representing the Muslim community. We are actually airing the voice of the Muslim community. We are presenting the view of Islam from the women perspective.
Yes.
And that's just, it goes on and on. We just want people out there to know that Islam and the Muslim women, it's just, for me, I mean, and for you too, I'm sure you're going to say Islam is the best thing that has ever happened to you.
Yes,
and same
it
here,
is.
It is, because it has actually placed on me all the beautiful things I can ever think of,
and then to even give courage to other Muslim women, that because a lot of people just feel Islam relegates you, to give courage to all those Muslim women that the more we learn about Islam, the more we know that our status has been elevated beyond any other system or any other isms in the world. Before we even have another caller, I think the first brother talked about he asked a question about the civil service, but we're even thinking about we're talking about can women be in government and all that. So I think we should even talk a little bit about the political aspect.
Yeah.
What does Islam teach women, or what is the status of Muslim women in politics?
I think Khadija should be.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because of the complementary role Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed on women. Remember, complementary role Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as what's that thing? A manifesto for us. Let me put it that way. We women can occupy some certain governmental roles, and for example, we could be the Commissioner of Women Affairs, the Minister of Women Affairs, or the Commissioner for medical and education, because those two roles are also at the first time as
training of children,
training and giving care. We're actually good at being a medical doctor, being a teacher. We're actually pretty much good at these things. But as a president, as a major decision maker, like the president and the governor, we are not allowed to hold such political positions.
And then, just like an example where it was said that a woman named Shifa was made the head of markets, like what we call the Iyaloja in the south here, during the time of Umar Rojala. So it's a political position. She was the head of the market section, and then she was a woman. Yes, you wanted to say something else about politics. I know you passed it on to Sister Khadija first.
Well, I think just to summarize what she has said, I mean, even from the home front itself, the woman has to be politically inclined.
And training our children to be. I think we have another caller. Assalamu alaikum. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Hello. I guess we lost that call. Yes, so you were saying something about the woman being politically inclined, and
yes, because that will help to even shaping the family itself. So it is actually it's still a plus. The political aspect for the woman is still a plus. I mean, and when you see the family as a family of, when you complement each other, you bring out a positive goal rather than being a dictatorship thing.
And
so
there's another thing about women, of course, like we said, we are the backbone, we are that liver, that fulcrum that makes all the decisions. So we might not be in the forefront making all the decisions.
Engine,
we are the engine, we are that woman just behind it telling, oh my God, you're so not going to decide on that. Don't allow it. Don't do this. Approve of that budget. We do that. Oh, these people are asking for funds. Please be sure you give it to them. I actually have an allegiance with them. We still.
So you are saying that women are even really good in politics behind the scenes.
So we are better off
so
that
a lot
way.
of all these politics that we are seeing, it might even be women.
The women are
we have
the
another
major
caller.
players.
We have another caller. Salaam alaikum.
Hello.
Hello, salaam alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Keith from Aguda.
Hello.
Mhm. In fact, I job
Hello?
Nigerian women.
Hello?
Job
I'm
question.
sorry, we seem to have lost our call again.
Women.
Well, the number to still call is on your screen is 0806 Please do join us. We are still talking about the status of women in Islam. Yes, you were saying
Hello?
most of the politics we are saying around
Hello?
Yes, exactly.
women are the
We are the
mastermind.
players. I mean, we are the players. We
that-
actually
that's a
influence
new
most
word
of
for
this.
me.
Oh,
Okay.
it really is. I mean, at home, don't you do it? You know,
Oh,
your,
yes, of course.
your
I
husband
can
just
imagine. I can imagine if my husband is a political office holder, and then I have interest in particular things. Of course, I know how to get my, my views across to make sure
it works
that
for all women, I'm sure. And there is something else I also like to add to all the business. We are simply talking about the status of women in Islam, and that aspect would be, if I would ask you what has your hijab done for you? Because that's one of the, that the things about Islam, the features about Islam that makes people attribute Islam to Islam and women, Muslim women, to slavery. You understand?
saying that men don't have to dress in particular way,
And now we
women
have to. And one answer I have for them is physiologically, Allah SWT has created us in different ways. Allah SWT has given us features that are different from that of the men. Features that are alluring, that are appealing to the opposite sex. Of course, refusal to cover up these features has actually it has actually brought forth its disaster in the world that we live in. Just look at the community where the women are well cladded, properly dressed, and and zina, that is fornication and adultery, is not the order of the day. There is sanity in this community. They are happy because all child born into that community is from a marriage. And the first time said that when we have a lot of bastard in a community, that community is definitely heading towards a doom. But when we have a lot of legal marriages, lawful marriages, and offsprings are coming forth from these marriages, then the society is guaranteed. So when the women are not cladded, properly cladded, when they do not conceal what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them of beauty and glamour, then they wreak havoc. Because even our voice, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually said, is beautiful. And that's why Allah commanded us, do not beautify your voice when you actually speak to the opposite sex, so that in one it would heart is a disease. You don't cause him more harm, because it is a natural. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually created that thing in us. There would always be that force of attraction, but it has to be encouraged in a lawful way, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He has actually
we have
permitted
another
it.
caller. Just hold that thought. Salaam alaikum. Hello. Hello. Salaam alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
We lost that call. I can't seem to.
Just to
That-
buttress
yes.
what she has rightly said. I mean, when Allah, there's a verse of the Quran that says that whatever Allah and the messenger, decide, there's no point. Allah has already decreed this is the way the woman should dress. So there's no point arguing about that. Rather, I think the hijab actually gives you more confidence when we look at it, because whatever Allah says, there is hikmah, there is wisdom behind whatever Allah says.
And that's what I said. Cover yourself up, so that when you're seen, you shall be recognized and you will not be molested.
Yes.
There are so many gains. I must say today that there are no pains in the usage of hijab. It protects you in all spheres, and I see no reason why we have to be apologetic about the usage. And I see no reason why, because we use our hijab, we should be deprived of so many other privileges that we should enjoy.
That are giving people that do not want to use the hijab.
Because when it comes to, it's not as if some actually even think that, okay, because we are covered in hijab, we are concealed of hearing, and or probably
some people
we've
that you cannot
brains.
see properly. I think on that note, we don't have much time left. I wish we could take more calls, but we don't have more time left. I just want you to give me, what is your take on this, on the status of women in Islam? What is your final verdict, so to say? What is our status? Are we debased? Are we elevated? What is our status?
I mean, in summary, the status of women in Islam is of dignity and of honor. and the Islam has categorically stated it out, and in the glorious Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually elevated the woman. So I see no pain, I see no I think I'm proud to be a woman. I see no
Muslim
disadvantage. I see no, it's all positive. If you look at the glorious Quran, that's where you have even a surah dedicated to the woman.
Yeah.
To the woman.
I mean,
Yes,
so
Surah
that's
to
the
Nisa.
privilege.
Yes.
Nisa, you have
Hijab.
surah to Maryam. So I think it's more of the positive, and alhamdulillah, I'm a woman.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So my sister Khadija, what is your final take? What is your final verdict?
I'd like to take a cue from my dear sister who said I'm definitely proud to be a woman. If there is
A Muslim woman.
if I have a Muslim woman, yes.
Alhamdulillah. I think it
Particularly
gives us
a
pride
Mus-
to be
yes.
Muslim women. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, continue to bless Muslim women around the world. Allah has made us dignified and honorable, and may Allah continue to make us so till the end of time. This is where we have to draw the curtain on living in the month of Ramadan. But Ramadan diet continues, and then the next program is going to be Nurul Huda weekly lecture. I know you are going to enjoy it, so please stay tuned.